Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission in the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences, and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the Composer mission from Halo 4 on the next episode. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. This episode, we're debriefing the Shutdown mission from Halo 4. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
Pelican time!
That's right. We finally get to fly one of those things.
It's been like a couple games, eh?
Yeah, one or two.
Since 2001.
Last mission was Reclaimer. Chief and Gypsy Company hopped on a mammoth and rolled out to destroy the array of particle cannons that were protecting Requiem's gravity well. John 117 used a target designator so that the Mammoth's mobile MAC cannon could take out the defenses. After a quick joyride on a Covenant Lich and a jaunt through Jackal Sniper Canyon, Master Chief got a chance to meet the memory of the fabled librarian. She unlocked John's immunity to the Composer and may or may not have done something to Cortana. Then, Gypsy Company destroyed the gravity well, which freed the UNSC Infinity from the SHIELD world's grasps. This mission is Shutdown. Commander Lasky goes rogue. He ignores Captain Del Rio's orders to detain the aging super soldier and his rampant AI, but rather opts to give them a fighting chance at chasing down the Didact. With the help of a nasty Pelican gunship, Chief aims to interrupt the Didact's plans to leave Requiem and obtain the Composer. The date of the game is July. We still don't have a date yet. I think the next mission we finally get a date. July 2557. I would just like to start out by saying this mission's plot is fucking confusing.
It's Pelican time.
Yeah, it's really
You get to ride a pelican. What more do you want?
Yeah.
You want things to make sense?
Well, so here's my issue, and we'll talk about it. Is like they could have easily, written this mission and said, okay, take the Pelican, go blow up this thing, go blow up that thing, and then chase after the Didact. But instead, they added all this nerdy stuff that if you don't know any of these words or terms or like how radios work, then you are completely lost on what they're actually trying to do besides just going to blow up stuff.
Carrier wave generators.
Yeah, stuff like
How
that.
interesting.
So, I mean, I appreciate the level of depth that they add to it, but they never... The other thing, the funny thought about this is Master Chief, he's a super soldier, but is he also super smart? Because he never really questions what Cortana says.
Cortana's
right?
also in his brain, though.
Well, that's true.
In terms of, tactics, yes. In terms of scientifically, I don't think so. I think he's more of a good soldier.
He just goes with the flow.
I think
and doesn't
so,
ask
yeah.
questions.
I think he defers. I think there's a level of trust with him and Cortana now where he'll just do it. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he'll put way too much thought in it. Definitely when you think about the character of Chief, what we get to in books and comics, and we get the inner monologue and stuff like that, you can kind of see the processes and the way his brain thinks. I don't think he delves too deep into the science on certain things, you know?
Right. And he just seems like he understands it because he doesn't. He just kind of goes with it. So, but anyway, he's the protagonist. We're the player. All that sort of fun stuff. But anyway, why don't we dive into this opening cutscene to start with? It's very emotional. This whole opening. David, take us through this opening cutscene.
Yeah, this cutscene's really raw. This is like Jen Taylor at her best right now. It's pretty awesome. So as you may or may not have just played Reclaimer, the end of that mission was pretty tense and had a Chief kind of storming off the bridge with Cortana. This mission opens up with Cortana staring out at the sunrise and saying that I know this isn't real because of the something effect. I can't remember what it is. It has
Rayleigh
some
effect.
distortion. Yeah. And I know that the orbit is too symmetrical or too spherical for an actual real sun. But despite that, I'll never really know if it's real. I'll never really know what it feels like. She's very human in this moment and very kind of vulnerable. and in the background, Chief is just kind of like putting weapons together and banging shit and just generally being a bloke. And do you know what I mean? You could very much get the sense here that he's just not equipped to deal with the emotions that Cortana's bringing. And that's just, I suppose I'm superimposing here because Chief doesn't actually say anything and there's no facial emotion, so you don't really know, but I get the impression that that's kind of, it's the character I've built for Chief in my head anyway. Do you know what I mean? That I think how he reacts, because she turns around to him then and says, promise me by the end of all this you'll figure out which one of us is the machine.
Oh,
very good.
Which is such an amazing line. And like,
I just like it pans to Master Chief. He just shifts awkwardly. And
Yeah.
that's him reacting to her saying that.
And then Chief is saved by the bell, which is Lasky coming striding into their conversation. And pretty much as you can expect, with the way things left on the bridge, he's like, I've been ordered to pretty much stop you and take you in. But in case you weren't here, I prepped the Pelican, full combat gear, blah blah blah. Now, when this originally kind of happened, I was like, holy shit, yes. Give me this full combat spec'd out Pelican. And you see it kind of churning up the screen behind you. There's a little bit of dialogue of where like Lasky is like, I'm trusting you, Chief. I hope that Didac is not as big a problem as you think he is. I hope you're wrong, therefore like I won't have to worry, but in case you're not, here's this fucking here's a nice little present for you.
Well, he says that he says I was gonna have to chase after you in this, more or less.
I'm pretty sure with the sly wink on the nod, he was never intended of doing it. He was just gonna go, here's a present for you, ready for you.
The other thing he says, he asks Chiefs what his plan is. So, like, before this Pelican even is an option, the plan that Chief has is, as Infinity is leaving, he said, I'm going to escape the ship. I'm just going to jump out of the Infinity back down into Requiem and then chased after Didac. Like, that's the loose plan. So if you didn't have this Pelican, this whole thing would have been way different. But
I'm sure he would have overly relied on Cortana to hack her way in to give him something. Do you know what
sure.
I mean? There's no way he was just jumping out a window. Do you know what I mean? He was
he's done that before.
Rob something. He has done that before, but
he's
definitely
about to do that a little later too. Just saying.
That's true. Oh man, I got some issues with that. I can tell you.
What?
All right. Keep going.
Anyway, keep going. The cutscene kind of ends with Lasky saying best of luck to both of you. He kind of walks off. Cortana and John look at each other. Emotions. And then John plugs it back in and away we go. Mission kicks off.
She says, what's the line, Krista?
Take a girl for a ride.
Oh, that was really good. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Come on, Chief, take a girl for a ride.
And that's why people think they're boyfriend and girlfriend. Right there.
They are boyfriend and girlfriend. Everybody knows this. Have you not played the next game, Colin?
All right.
They have their fight. Their first
No
fight.
spoilers. God damn it. All right. So the opening of this is pretty cool, right? You're in this hangar. So I have some issues with this because everyone, like Del Rio, is the captain, and he should be maybe trying a little harder to stop Chief from.
I like how
leaving.
he's just like, Lasky, take care of it. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Yeah. And then all these Marines are just kind of hanging around like, hey, it's Chief. What's up? It's cool being in this hangar area, but there's no sense of urgency to escape the Infinity and get
Not
to the
at all.
Pelican.
No, you very much get the impression either none of these guys know, and like literally Del Rio handed this off over to Lasky and just trusted him to deal with it, and
Right.
Lasky just told nobody, so that you can maybe think if you're wearing on the bridge, you're not going to know what the real situation is, and you're just used to Chief just kind of going around stealing shit and flying away.
Right.
This guy just took all of our shit and left. What the fuck?
Yeah. There's some fun little bits of trivia and Easter eggs
Yeah,
in around
let's do
this
that.
area that I'd like to just interject while we're right here.
So good. Very good.
So the first one I never knew about until I started looking up Easter eggs for this mission. So there's like a console right where you first start. You can go up and activate it, and it's an audio log, but it's from the announcer of the multiplayer game, and he's like narrating. It says like something on the like there's a direct reference to the web series Red vs. Blue here, where he kind of mentions Red vs. Blue Carnage. So he's kind of almost narrating a war game, which is in Halo 4 where they brought in they made in canon the multiplayer. That I
Mhm.
think it was Halo 4 brought this in. It's,
Uh-huh.
it's all war games that take place on Infinity between Spartan Force fighting each other to kind of train. So it's kind of cool to get that little Easter egg with the narrator being in canon as well. Thought that was pretty cool, or the announcer, sorry. There is a little screen weird smiley face thing on the back of one of the crates. It's a random reference to. Let me get it up here now. Where is it? The video game artist community Polycount can be found on one of the crates. It's a green tooth smiley. So it's kind of it's a weird little thing. And I kind of looked at the video and was like, oh, okay, good for those guys. They got in the game.
It was relevant at the time that the game's release or something. Yeah.
There's another big Easter egg here that wasn't on Halopedia, which I thought was weird. But Conan O'Brien and Andy Richter did a skit that's in this. There's two Marines. They're like medics, so they got a kind of white armor and stuff like that. And when you walk up to them, they're at the very, very end near the Pelican. And they don't really say anything at the start, but they have some funny dialogue quips that go on for a little while, and then they kind of repeat themselves. So it's kind of funny. They listen to them kind of banter on about like how their jobs are stupid, and they just guard crates and lift up crates and move crates. And it's kind of cold in here. I wish we had a rug. And all
Yeah,
this
they
kind
start
of stuff,
talking about rugs.
So it's kind of random, but it's a random cool.
Really funny. I think it's only on Legendary.
I don't. Yeah, maybe so. I didn't think there was a difficulty associated with it.
The transcript is in Halopedia. Like, so if you go to the mission in Halopedia, you can read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just doesn't actually spell it out. Cool. That's here for this. That's all I got for this little room.
Did you guys try to jump into a scorpion? I did.
Yes, I tried to jump into everything. Jump into the
Nothing. Yeah. Couldn't
You
do
just
anything.
literally launch yourself in a scorpion off the side of Infinity.
Or hop on a warthog and just take it out. That was great. I was just hoping to, for a little carnage in this room. Just for fun.
I will say that this room is kind of cool because it's kind of full of weapons, full of ammunition. There's a saw. There's so much saw ammo. There's DMR. There's ARs, pistols. Everything's beautiful. The Pelican itself, I think we need to spend some time talking about the Pelican.
All right, go for it.
Man, I'm super down on this Pelican.
Really? The way it looks?
Yeah, it's off-putting the way it looks, yes, and I get that it's a total different variant and it's got a different functionality. That's totally fine, but it just doesn't feel like a Pelican I think should control. It just feels like nothing else. It feels like the broadsword. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't feel unique. It doesn't control like I think a Pelican should control. The way you see it in all the other games, the way it kind of sweeps and swoops, and do you know what I mean? And it doesn't have that VTOL. It has too much of a VTOL kind of feel about it. Vertical takeoff and landing kind of ships. It doesn't. The thrusters, I don't know. There's a sense of momentum. I think it's lost. It just doesn't move correctly. In my opinion.
You can when you're in the Pelican, you can just hover with it and go straight down and straight up, and that's not really how Pelicans work. They work on momentum and not hover technology. So
yeah, their
they need to
thrusters
constantly
rotate
go
and
forward.
turn.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's just it just doesn't feel good. I mean, I really wanted to love it, and the boost feels weird. Do you know what I mean? When have we ever seen a Pelican boost? And just
how rad is it though? That very beginning when you finally hop in and it has that little runway.
So
it
cool,
feels
man.
very cool, right? And you're taking off out of the Infinity.
Yeah, boosting out and then looking back behind you and seeing the Infinity kind of move off. It's pretty epic.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Oh yeah, look back at the
turn around,
Infinity.
look behind you.
Nice.
The scale seems to be a tiny little bit off for me.
Yeah, the Infinity looks smaller than it should have.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then you have the Didac, his Cryptum, the satellite as they call it, out in front, and it's got this glowy orange shield around it. I understand what you're talking about with the controls. I'm guessing there's probably some technology decisions that they needed to make, and I also feel like if you flew a Pelican the way that it's portrayed in a game, it would have been this whole area would have been a lot harder to get used to. Don't you think?
Yeah, but then it would have been kind of fun to learn how to do everything.
Sure.
That too, and you don't actually do a whole lot in the Pelican.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? You're very limited in what you do, so that's also kind of disappointing. Do you know what I mean? In terms of they don't give you a whole lot to do with it. two brief kind of encounters with some phantoms at distance. You're equipped with a Spartan laser and a chain gun. So, despite the fact, now it is kind of weird if you were playing multiplayer. Getting other players into this Pelican have different stations. There's different turrets at the sides that can be manned, as well as a cannon on the back that has like, it's essentially a scorpion cannon. That like, you can't operate it unless you have a second player. But it actually just sits on top of the Pelican. It's ridiculous, like a little mini small. You can't miss it, but it only shoots
really
backwards.
Cool. I kind of like that. I like how the more people you play with, the kind of more gameplay you get out of the Pelican.
That is cool. It's just unfortunate that there's nothing to do with them, right?
Yeah.
Two little small sequences.
Yeah, because you never really get that close to the phantoms.
No, because they wreck you.
Yeah, if you get too close. But you can just destroy them pretty easily if you stay in a distance.
Yeah, you gotta snipe them.
Yeah,
in a Pelican.
Yeah.
Spartan laser, which is weird.
Yeah, the Spartan laser I think takes maybe 2 shots. I think it's 2 shots of the Spartan laser, direct hits, and then the chain gun does pretty quick work if you're close enough.
Chain gun's pretty beautiful. It has a great sound mechanic as well. It sounds beautiful.
Yep. Yeah, so it's kind of a hit and miss with the Pelican. Some good things, some I guess just frustrating, limiting things in this part. You can you really just remain on the same plane in the air. Did you guys try to go up to the Covenant ships in the distance? I tried to fly,
but if you go to the Didact, I think he shoots you down and kills you.
I was able to go under the Didact, like it let me inside of the orange shield just a little bit, but it didn't let me go high enough. Like I couldn't. There's like a ceiling, invisible ceiling that you can't see.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's that, and he doesn't kill you.
Yeah, and then there are the Covenant ships, and you can get kind of close to them, but as soon as you get, I don't know, within range, you can fire at them. I don't think anything really happened when I did that. But then it does one of those things. Hey, get back to the battle area or whatever the terminology is. So
battlefield.
Yeah. So I had to turn around. Yeah. So I had to give me 10 seconds, and if I didn't get back, then it was gonna blow me up. So yeah, I mean it's fun. It is fun to fly the Pelican, but like this could have been more fun. But I'm glad they added it. You know, the fact that you can actually fly Pelicans, pretty cool, pretty rad. It's just not as good as what's our favorite mission from Reach? Long Night of Solace.
Oh, the Saber.
Yeah, it's just the flying isn't quite as good as that. Because you're in that, you have like the full area, the full space to fly around and loop around, and you have dogfights and things like that. So they tried to kind of emulate that. But anyway, let's talk about the mission. So you're in this Pelican, and you have 2 spots to go to. And depending on what order you go to, the dialogue changes a little bit. I always go left, but this time I went to the right this time just to see how it would change. So forgive me, but I'm going to go right to left in this one. There are, 5 phantoms on each side?
Yeah.
Something of that nature. So fly up to them, keep your distance, take them out however you want to, chain gun or the Spartan laser. It is kind of cool to see, like when you switch the weapon, to see like a picture of the Spartan laser.
Yeah,
up on the side. It's like, whoa, that's kind of weird, but that's the technology, I guess, that you're using to destroy those phantoms. But yeah, so the plan is. It seems like, and this is what Cortana's explained. This is why I say it's kind of confusing. The Didact, he's like loading up. He's planning on leaving, but he needs to. This is like where he's getting a bunch of stuff shoved onto his cryptum, so that he can, I don't know, sustain the trip to wherever he's going. So he's either loading up on supplies or other Prometheans, or that seems to be kind of the plan here. What we're trying to do is interrupt that process, so we can take down that shield. That shield is kind of like protecting him as they're loading stuff into the cryptum. That's the sense that I got. Was that kind of what you guys got as well?
Yeah.
Cortana talks about communication a lot, and networks, and some kind of information stream. It's very ambiguous as what you're doing, other than you're disrupting his plans is kind of what you get.
Yeah, that's the gist of what you're doing.
Yeah. So he's hanging out, getting ready to leave, so we're going to try to interrupt that. So we got to go, and there's these 2 main communication I don't know, spots or pylons, whatever you want to call them. So I went to the right this time, and you destroy the phantoms, and then you hop in. On this side, it says, let's see here. Cortana says that there's too much communication traffic to isolate this signal. So the plan is to destroy. See, and that's the thing. It's like there's one plan. Like at the very beginning of the mission, it's like Chief's plan is to just jump out of the Infinity, and then he's presented a different plan, and then we go here, and then there's one plan that we need to do that Cortana presents us, and then once we get closer to the actual objective, we have to modify or ad-lib a little bit. So that's why it gets a little confusing. They throw a lot of techie type language at you. So if you get all that and you understand it and it clicks with you, great. I think for a lot of us, it just kind of like it goes over our head, or you can just like, okay, well, I just go to the blue thing, right?
I just followed the waypoint.
Yeah.
Press the button.
I'm here to shut down the thing.
Yeah.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
So she says the plan is to destroy the attenuator, which is interesting. I did a little research. So the attenuator controls the strength of a communication signal. And if you destroy that attenuator, then it will flood the system and override the signal. So, hey, that kind of makes sense. Then she goes a little rampant, and she gets pissed at the Infinity. She's like, oh, okay, well, if the Infinity wasn't leaving, then they could have just do this themselves, but instead we're doing it. So she shows a lot of rampancy throughout this. You start off, once you finally get to that area, there's lots of Watchers around. Lots of Watchers. And they get, well, I guess maybe we should talk about like flying, and then you land your Pelican, and then you get a load up on your saws or whatever you want to load up on.
That's the best thing about the Pelican.
Yeah, it's so good. It's got so much ammo on it.
Mm-hmm.
The ammo that reloads itself is pretty amazing. So you got like like a rail rifle, DMR, AR, some grenades, a jetpack, and a saw. It's amazing.
Yeah, you get all the good stuff, and each time you come out, it's there, like it's fresh, right? So you perk the Pelican, come back out, fresh batch of ammo, awesome. Yeah, that feels really good because you're gonna burn through all that ammo pretty quickly once you start going through these areas. So the right spot is where you have a bunch of Watchers flying up and around, and yeah, they're just super. There's a lot of Watchers in general in this whole mission, but take care of those as quickly as possible, and then you need to activate. There's like a center console that you need to activate, and what that does is it exposes. Let's see, I wrote it down here. So it says you need to activate the release to the shutdown, which exposes the 3 attenuators from the Faraday enclosures. And so a Faraday enclosure is something that's used to block electromagnetic fields. Again, like I probably looked into this way too much. Yeah, exactly. So once those Faraday enclosures are dropped, then you can pop these 3, what do I call them? Attenuators. So then once those attenuators down, then we get to head out back to the next section. So in the meantime, once you do that, you kind of can do it in any order you want to, and you can there's these little crates that are around that you can blow up, and if you get lucky, you can blow up some of the knights that are nearby. What is your guys' general strategy for this area, Krista?
If I'm not playing on Legendary, you can kind of just run through it.
Yeah.
You can just run up to him, punch him, grab a scatter shot and kind of kill the knights that way, and just kind of run around, which is what I did.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
So you were just doing heroic today?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah. Anything different, David? Are you taking your time?
Well, it's the same. I have the saw, so I'm just having fun with the saw.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's all I'm really doing. Now I'm on heroic, so it's not amazing, but I'm pumping through that ammo as quick as I can. But no, I had some fun here today. It was cool. I didn't really do anything crazy. Do you know what I mean? Tactics wise, this room is pretty basic.
Right.
Just pop shot the crawlers, take out the Watchers, then focus on the Promethean Knights.
And they will, once you pop one of the attenuators, they will some more Prometheans will spawn. So, but like when you walk in the room, there's a bunch of them just kind of camped out in the 3 different spots, and they'll move around the space, but some of them will generally just kind of guard one of them. But yeah, I mean, I would say, you know, to attack this room any way you want, have some fun. It's more fun once you clear out those watchers. So do that first, and then just go around. And there's lots of things to kind of hide behind. So if you want to do a little do-si-do with your night fights, you can do that. It's good times. But yeah, I think that scatter shot's pretty key for taking those out. Chuck some splinter grenades, all that good stuff that we've gotten used to when we're fighting the Prometheans. Prometheans. They've been promoted.
Oh.
All right, so when we head out now, once you do everything, then I think the Didact chimes in here a little bit, doesn't he? Yeah, we hear the Didact. But
oh, yeah.
But Cortana doesn't hear the Didact.
Yeah,
any thoughts on that?
Weird. I don't know, because it kind of, he talks to you throughout the rest of the mission after his first dialogue, kind of like, hey, you're a stupid human and you're dumb. But in a beautiful Didact way.
Right.
His dialogue is so good. Whoever wrote his dialogue, I love you.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
When they found the exact opposite person to write Palmer's dialogue.
God damn.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how is it telekinesis? I don't think the Forerunners are telekinetic.
No.
Right.
It's got to be technology. I mean, you're messing around with a comms array with signals and attenuators, so I don't know how he's doing it, but
yeah, that's a good point.
It could also be just something, I don't know, maybe Cortana's missing it, she's rampant, she's not up to scratch.
Well, the librarian also was unlocking his Forerunner
gene song.
Yeah, the gene song, which I always thought the gene song might contain something about the Didact and Master Chief, just because of the parallels between both of them in their respective stories. But
sure.
Whatever.
The Didact says, the others scatter like embers over sand, and yet the librarian's champion is unmoved.
Oof. Talk to me more, baby.
Yeah, then the Didact, after John's like, what's going on? Cortana doesn't hear it. He says, the mantle of responsibility for the galaxy shelters all human, but only the Forerunners are its masters. And so that's kind of his thing, as we know.
Talk to me more, Daddy.
On the way out of this tower, I guess we're calling it, we do finally encounter an incinerator cannon.
Yes.
This is our first incinerator cannon. And if you don't, I feel like a lot of people, you're just gonna die here. You're gonna die as you're trying to get by this guy, especially the first time, because this thing moves really slowly, and you can see it, so you can dodge it, but then it hits the ground, and then it spawns 4 more explosions right next to it. It's super powerful. Yeah.
It's got a pretty epic splash damage area.
Yeah, that AOE is intense. But you take him out from a distance, so it's not too bad. I think there's a watcher and a crawler in here as well. Do you guys pick up the incinerator cannon then?
I did today.
You did?
I like it.
Do you remember how many rounds it carried?
Oh, 3, and I think 5 is the max.
Okay, so it's not an energy based. It's not like a percentage.
No, it's got like a clip that you reload.
Right.
Or a shot, I guess.
Krista, do you use it much?
No, I didn't use it this time. I was kind of rocking a light rifle and a scatter shot.
Okay. I like that. That's a good combo.
It's very good.
Close,
very effective.
Little distance. Very nice. All right, so we hop back on our Pelican once we deal with that guy, and then go to the other tower, which is on the left side, which is where I would say probably 90% of the people start. And here we get to do our little gondola ride.
Gondola time, just like in Halo 2.
Stupid gondola.
Everybody loved that mechanic in Halo 2. Everybody's favorite part of Halo 2.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, once you get off the gondola and go and do your little fights, it's all right. But just, I don't know.
No, it's a real
gondola
annoying.
mechanic is just, yeah.
Well, and also, like, in this room as well, Cortana even says, like, hey, we're going back to some old tactics, and you end up doing, like, the Halo 1 thing where you step into a beam.
Oh,
that
that's
I
the plan on this one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so the other one, this one says it's a carrier wave generator located somewhere inside. Is what she says. And a carrier wave is what actually holds the communication in radio technology. So yeah, we gotta go blow that up. Or I guess we gotta overload that.
Shut it down, Colin. That's what we're doing.
Shut down.
Shut down.
Shut down time. I'm shutting down my Pelican by crashing it.
And this one starts with the Covenant, right? They're on the ledge right away. You got some sniper jackals to deal with.
Oh yeah.
You head on up and pop those, take those out first, and then head on up and take out the grunts, and then you're always gonna have some elites there on top. Yeah, but if you reloaded on the Pelican, well, I guess Krista, you're using Promethean weapons here. I'm trying to use my UNSC weapons as much as possible, and that saw. And I always feel bad, like I want to save that saw for the elites.
Yes.
I don't want to use them on the grunts, but so sometimes, but you have to. So I'll usually pop the grunts with my DMR, and then use grenades if possible from the distance. I'm using my DMR on the jackals, and then doing some up close combat with the elites. David, anything to add on? I mean, you're going down and back. Do we really want to go down and back on this walkthrough? I mean,
no, dude, it's just a terrible room. I hate the gondolas. I hate the slow gondolas. I hate the way they stop you. You have to get off, fight, turn them back on again, get back on them. It stops you again, get off, fight some more dudes. It's just not fun.
Some interesting notes about this room is that Cortana is like completely psycho nuts and doesn't even realize the gondola is stopped at one point.
Oh, I might have missed that one.
Well, he's like, the gondola's stopping. She's like, what? Oh, yeah. It was kind of like took her a second to kind of.
Yeah.
He's like, why are we stopping? She's like, ... stopping? She's like, oh, they've overridden the gondola controls. You're like, okay. Then she's just not lighting up some of the objectives for you, and Chief has to kind of like, can I get the objectives, please?
Hello.
Hello. He like taps on his helmet. Hello. Anyone home?
They override the gondola controls on one stop, and then the Didact gives them control on another stop. So just more of the the Covenant and the Prometheans are working together against you. I really want to hear what the Didact's telling these guys. I would love to have some insight on the dialogue between whoever is leading the Covenant, because we really don't know that yet. I mean, we know that, but there's no Covenant leader. There's just all these Covenant, and then the Didact, and then all of his metal Prometheans.
Speaking of the Didact, he talks to you in this room too.
Yep. He says a couple more things.
Your actions tread between honor and foolishness. And then he reveals the location of the composer in passing. So
yeah, actually, I forgot about that.
You are a fool.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You are a fool. Even now your kind tinkers with the composer in the shadow of the third ring. So now we know where it is. Children in fire who disregard the welfare of the galaxy. So now he obviously knows where the composer is. We know where he's headed. I like the phrase "shadow of the third ring." It makes me happy every time he says it. I'm like, that's cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, there's cool moments happening.
And up until now, we don't really know much about the third ring anyway. We know the Infinity found it, so now it's like, oh, the composer's there too.
We're like, why is this game called Halo? I don't get it. Boom.
There's a Halo.
Wait a minute, we're not there yet.
Yeah, I know.
The other thing he says is, do you truly believe these theatrics can prevent my departure? Embrace your sad fate and retain your nobility. I am already beyond you.
He's calling Master Chief clown. You're like, you're a weird clown man.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, I don't really want to dwell on this spot anymore. I mean, this whole mission, it's got a lot of cool concepts. And it can be enjoyable if you enjoy fighting the Prometheans, but if you're like us and you've been playing through all these games, I don't even know if this is a cool callback, because does anybody like the gondola stuff in the previous games?
No one liked the gondola in Halo 2, so
yeah. So anyway, let's get out of this room, and then we head further on, and we got to go back into the Pelican, and then Cortana says, "Oh, well, we can go into this center. Yeah, another change of plans. We can go into this center area and do some things there." So we head that way. Can you skip these too? I think I might have read that somewhere.
Yes, I found out today that you can. There is actually a way to get into the last tower can be entered right from the level's beginning, creating a very useful shortcut for legendary playthroughs and speedruns, which I never knew because I've struggled with the speedrun on this mission since day one. I've not been able to do it, so I'm definitely going to try to figure that out.
Oh, yeah, this would be hard. Because it just takes so long, especially the gondola.
The gondola,
yeah.
Oh my god, the gondola sequence. It's so tough.
I think the part time's 20 minutes?
It is, yes.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting is that Didact dialogue that I just read, Cortana does chime in the middle of that, and she says, he knows what we're trying to do. If we try to get too close to that ship, we're dead. So
does that mean she can't hear him, or she can't?
Or she's just aware that he's doing things to prepare, and that whatever they're doing is like maybe causing him to speed up what he's doing, so she's kind of maybe reacting to what he's doing, not opposed to what he's saying.
It's very unclear what Cortana's going through right now, honestly.
Yeah.
True. She crazy.
Yeah. So kind of her last direction, this is what the plan is now. She says, those defense spires we keep running into are controlled by this tower. I'm not sure which defense spire she's talking about, because she says we keep running into them. So maybe that was like dialogue that was written before the actual gameplay was finished?
I don't know.
Maybe? Anyway,
Maybe.
Says, get me to the control room, and we might be able to reposition them to block the Didact ship from leaving. So I think what the plan is to use these defense spires, I think she calls them, to shoot at the Didact, try to take down his cryptum. So we head towards this new waypoint, which is in the center, which is kind of close to beneath the cryptum. Meanwhile, the Didact's just floating up above, just letting us do all this stuff.
I know, he's just like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you would think
I'm gonna taunt him a little bit. Maybe that'll make him stop.
Maybe after we shut these two things down, maybe he would try to stop us, but he doesn't.
It would have been really cool to fight Didact's cryptum with the Pelican.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been cool. I do like how when you finally get up to this last waypoint, the tower opens up, and then the platform forms itself in front of you. So that feels pretty cool.
The shifting forward on tech in this is pretty cool. There are some cool environments here.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that feels pretty good. So we hop into this new tower, and what's going on in here, David? It's like there's a giant open room, and you start walking through it, but it's not stable.
Dude, I don't know what the hell's going on. You're in this room, and all of these platforms are floating, and then stuff starts falling down because the Didact is reacting to you, I guess, or disassembling certain things. So you're kind of running through these platforms that are collapsing a little bit, and then each kind of main platform has a hub, and there's a bunch of Covenant forces just kind of entrenched here. So you just kind of fight your way through essentially when you get to the next room, and then you get the same kind of situation, but then you get some Banshees and stuff.
Yes.
This whole area, this is like Halo and Mario mixed together. It's great.
I like how he's making all of the stuff collapse and stuff. It's definitely a cool thing, but it's not used quite a lot during this, except for the beginning.
I wouldn't say it's effective, but yeah.
Yeah, he does at the beginning, and then meanwhile all the light bridges are active, so you can just kind of walk across them. And there's resistance and things like that. So I get what they're going for. But it could have been this whole area could have been done a little bit differently. Maybe you push a button to activate the light bridges, and then he turns them off or something. I don't know. But in general, this area is a fun combat area. I mean, I had fun. I go left usually.
I go left. That's where the terminal is as well. So
yes, the terminal's way in the back of the room. There's some jackals on one of the platforms.
I actually found it today.
Oh, you got it. Nice.
It's the first one. I'm like, oh yeah, Terminus.
This is a good level if you just want to play around with a bunch of different weapons and kill a bunch of different things, this is a great level to do it.
Yeah.
Because you get a Pelican and you get a Banshee to play with and a bunch of different stuff.
Oh, just the level in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. They're those turrets are kind of a pain in the butt in this area too, so I would recommend trying to take those out right away.
You can just run through this as well. The only thing you have to fight in this room are the hunters at the back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the very back, those hunters will descend in that grav lift, and then that grav lift goes away. You actually have to destroy them. Take them out.
I get PTSD when Cortana says we needed to be there yesterday, because there's an achievement with these two hunters to knock them off the platform using the sticky grenade detonator. The sticky detonator.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of PTSD around this part.
Tough. It's a hard achievement.
Is it on heroic too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a pain in the butt, because you have to like get them towards the edge, then you have to run back and like detonate them and hope that they get off the edge, and sometimes you can get the first one off like right at the get-go, and then the second one just will not get close to the edge. It's just like,
right.
Work with me here. I'm trying to kill you.
Yeah. It's really tough. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I didn't remember the sticky grenade part of it, so I did spend a little time just trying to see if I could punch him off or use a grenade. Just to get him
I
off.
don't think... Is there a sticky grenade here? There's a sticky grenade achievement in the next mission. Are you thinking of that one? That's also related to hunters.
Oh, maybe it's that
this one. I think, is just to get them off the platform.
ledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is definitely hard. If you had a sticky grenade, it would be a little easier. But I think it's good point. I think it's just to get them off there, get them both to fall off. And I think when I actually got it, I don't think I've gotten the Master Chief Collection. It was just super lucky, like one knocked the other one off or something like that.
Yeah, that happens. It's a pure luck achievement just because the AI is pretty unpredictable.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we head up to the grav lift, and then, as you guys already mentioned, you get to ride a Banshee.
Banshee time!
Yeah.
It's kind of dumb that they give you a Banshee, because you literally can fly to the end of the room and end the level right
Skip
there.
everything.
Which is what I did, because I was like, I'm in a time crunch. I'm just gonna skip all of this. It's fun to use it in this room, and it's definitely recommended you do, because it's really cool and super fun. And sometimes the grunts will like plasma pistol you out of the air, and you get to hold your breath as you like fall, and then you recover. It's really fun.
Try and get your systems back on. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really fun room, but you can just skip everything. Like they make it so easy. They're just like, here's a Banshee. We really don't want you playing this part of the level, so here you go. It's like,
right.
what?
Yeah, they should have made you destroy something. Like you have to get out of the Banshee and push a button or something like that.
I think the elite runs for the Banshee kind of Halo 1 style, but he's really easy to distract. He'll come right up to you.
Yeah.
Plus, there's loads of Banshees here you can get out of and back into again.
Yeah.
Right.
There's loads of replacements.
Yeah, so have fun with Banshee if you want, or don't.
Or just skip the level if you're done.
What is the part time for the speedrun?
20 minutes.
Okay, so then a lot of that's just the gondola. This takes a long time. All right, so now we are gonna go, and so there's two levels. There's an upper level and a lower level. You have to go to the lower level. That's where the door actually is, and then you kind of hustle up there, and that's finally where the door opens. And you have now your control panel that we've been talking about. So you jacked Cortana into that, as you always do, and she starts to go a little wacky.
Super wacky.
She says she's gonna stop the Didac using those spires, and you can see the spires moving around and trying to do something, but then they all just crumble, and she fails to do what she was trying to do. When she starts to go rampant, she says, "They're mine now to imprison them." And then she also says, "Like he imprisoned his Prometheans, like Dr. Halsey imprisoned me." Oof, she's going downhill. She's degrading just a little bit.
Is the Doctor? I always interpreted the Dr. Halsey imprisoning me is her being stuck in a body, pretty much the AI body that deteriorates after 7 years, kind of that.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's kind of how I saw it, just because she's a flash clone of her brain that was then put into a body that has a very short lifespan.
Yeah,
At
embodies
least that's
not
for
right.
me.
It's like an entity. Yeah.
Because also, Cortana obviously doesn't like her situation, because the first thing she did was disable her ability to dispense herself. Final dispensation.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
I think a lot of that, I don't know. Yeah, there's definitely...
It's up to
she's
interpretation.
so smart, and then she's had these conversations, we've talked about before, she's had these conversations with the Gravemind, and she's interacted with the Halos, and now the Shield World, all this stuff. There's just a lot swimming around in that brain of hers. Lots going on. So anyway, she fails, and now I think, is it John's idea?
Yeah, he's just like, we're gonna go across the liches.
Yeah, because you see all these liches flying around the cryptum. He's like, oh, I can just like, jump on top of those. And just like, what is he going to do? Just like grab onto the cryptum?
I have no clue.
Yeah, there's no door per se. I mean, we've seen the Didact descend out of the bottom, but I mean, it's just John, he doesn't really care about himself. He just wants to reach or just, destroy the objective, do the thing, right?
Plans? So. Who needs plans?
But that's really the only option at this point, right? You don't have any other way to stop him, so it's like, well, get me to the cryptum. So Cortana agrees, like, all right, I'll line it up for you. Just jump. Yeah.
I like how you literally have to, as a player, jump off the ledge too.
Yeah.
There's just a waypoint off the ledge. It's just like, okay, here we go.
Do you guys remember being hesitant the first time?
I think I just did it. I'm like, this is Halo.
Yeah, I think I just did it. Yeah.
Okay. I think I was just like, really? So I'm just gonna jump. Okay. And then of course, do you guys also do a running jump? Do you like go way back, get up some good speed,
I totally
and
sprint
then jump? Yeah, exactly. Totally. I mean, because that's what you would do in real life, right? You wouldn't just fall off the ledge. You'd give it a good jump. All right. So now we have our end cutscene, which is pretty intense. This final part of the mission. David, why don't you take us through this?
Yeah, it's cool, and the issues that I kind of hinted at the start are more like, where were these things in all of Halo? So John jumps off the ledge and lands on a lich. And kind of like... But right before he does, he has these mysterious boosters that come out of the back of his armor, i.e. they're not the jump pack, they're boosters. And they kind of slow his descent as he lands on the ship. Where the fuck have those been?
Which is a Halo 5 thing as well.
Yeah.
Well, and then part of his enhanced suit, right?
Remember the
nanobots?
The nanobots just made them. Just now.
Why?
And then they got rid of them for the rest of the...
He hasn't had a chance to use them yet.
And then what's also annoying is then he pulls out a knife and stabs the lich to stop himself falling down. I'm like, where's John's knife been this whole game? That would have been cool to have a knife.
I think I read somewhere where there's only 2 knives in Halo. It's in ODST and Halo 4. Does that sound right? I mean, I think those are only 2.
Emil and Halo Reach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Emil's got one too.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3. All right, continue.
So anyway, he stabs the lich and then kind of climbs himself back up a little bit. Cortana tells him they're slip space jumping now, and there's a cool scene of the cryptum descending into this massive ship as it opens and kind of swallows it, kind of like a bullet going into a barrel. And then you see the ship kind of assemble around it and then start to kind of rise up.
And that
really
ship's
kind of
called
cool
the
moment.
Mantles Approach.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Ship is called the Mantles Approach. And it is surrounded by lich, and there doesn't seem to be any other Covenant ships, even though they definitely still have cruisers. I know Affinity did take out a few, but it's just like hundreds of the lich kind of entering into space. Cortana's like, John, they're going to slip space, get underground, or get it below deck. He says there's no time. He kind of just crawls into a little area, and then like you see like their shields kind of flaring up, and they kind of shoot into slip space.
Also, the shot of the Mantles Approach like coming out of Requiem is really cool.
Oh yeah,
I love
that. Really cool. Just for the sense of scale, it's pretty epic.
The Mantles Approach is pretty big, I think.
It is a very big boy.
Is it bigger than Infinity?
Oh, I don't know about that. Here, let's look.
Yeah,
Infinity is about 6 kilometers. Oh.
Are you looking at it? Are you looking at it?
Yeah. Give me a second.
Okay.
Let me pull up Infinity as well for reference.
And this isn't. Let's see here. So John's been through slip space naked before? Like, has he ever been...
Naked?
Well, I mean, he's in his combat armor, but
Pervert.
he's, like, going through slip space, not inside of a ship. Not recommended, but I think...
Yeah, it sounds crazy dangerous. John has done this, and I want to say it's in Halo First Strike, there's a bunch of slip space shenanigans that happen.
Okay.
I think he goes EVA in those. I could be wrong. It's been many years
Yeah,
since
I
read
remember
book.
that. Okay.
But there is a sequence about that.
So the length of Mantle's approach is 142.7 kilometers or 88.7 miles.
What?
Yep.
It's 88 miles long.
Yep. What do you even put in a ship like that?
What the hell?
It's the perfect size for your mom.
So it's a little... Oh, God. So it's a little bigger than the Infinity.
It's just a
At
tiny
least.
bit, eh?
Thing is massive. But and it floats... It doesn't float on its side. It's like...
It floats like
vertical.
upright, yeah.
Yeah. That is
Kind of like
crazy.
Boba Fett's ship. It's pretty cool.
Terrifying. That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. So he has a very... I mean, and again, it's like... It does go in line with the Forerunner. Like, everything's giant. The Forerunners are giant themselves. They have these giant shield worlds, these giant rings, and so I guess it makes sense that his ship would be that big, but oof. It's a long walk from end to end. I don't know what you would do.
Portals, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, like, moving a entity that big through slip space takes a lot of energy. Like, crazy amounts of energy.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Okay. That's shut down.
Bum,
Now,
bum.
any other trivia there, David?
A few random bits and pieces. It's possible to spawn 4 gravity hammers in this mission
What?
via legendary only Easter egg that you
Didn't we
can do
talk
on
about this
co-op.
already?
No, we could spawn
we talked about-
incendiary cannons
That's right.
in one
okay.
of the missions. Yeah, there's a weird thing you do that where you're in the part where you walk into the Faraday cage and have your shields disintegrate the orange blob and send the signal away. You can do a bunch of weird stuff where you crouch down and then move back and forward between the gondola and do like certain things, and then a noise happens and then 4 gravity hammers appear.
What?
You can only do it on
Oh.
co-op. It's weird.
That's amazing.
If the player betrays the UNSC personnel at the beginning of the level, additional troops will enter the area to kill the player. It makes it the first level since the Pillar of Autumn that features soldiers entering an area to eliminate a betraying player.
Okay.
However, unlike the Pillar of Autumn, these Marines are not invincible. They can be killed, and if you keep killing them, the very, very end leads to an Easter egg where a man resembling Sergeant Johnson spawns as the very
No.
last hostile.
Oh my God.
So,
I need to try
pretty
this.
cool.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
it's pretty cool. Yeah, Krista, I'm surprised you didn't do this, but there you go. There's some stuff for you. Check that shit out. The last tower we did that. Yep, we pretty much did it all. The kind of real emotional scene where Chief is like cocking his assault rifle. He's doing it all wrong apparently. All the kind of the accoutrements to how that would be done is on the other side of the weapon, not on the side he's actually shown using it. So it's like kind of nerdy, but there you go.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's your trivias.
Cool. General thoughts on it. Like, is this one of the better missions? Is this one of the worst missions in Halo 4? Where does it fall for you guys?
Mediocre, normal.
Mediocre
I think
to low.
So I think it has a couple really cool shots. It's got you first coming out of the Pelican. It's got, for some reason, I always remember you kind of wandering around killing things and the Didact kind of taunting you, which I think is really cool from this mission.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the whole end cutscene where Master Chief's using his knife, and then them exiting slip space. You finally get to see Mantle's approach.
Yeah.
So I think the set pieces in this are really good, and also Cortana's monologue at the very beginning is really good.
Yeah.
So the set pieces are there, but I just don't think the gameplay is very big standout compared to everything else.
Mm-hmm. David?
Pretty much agree with Krista. I'm a little bit more negative just because I really dislike the gondolas. That kind of segment.
And
But
apparently
it
the
is
Pelican.
cool. And I'm down on the Pelican. I don't know if I say I hate it. It has some redeeming qualities, but other than that, I'm not really good.
Yeah, I think it bookends well. It starts strong, ends strong, and then the middle it's just a little below average.
The middle being all of the gameplay.
Well, so I will say I think the game ends strong from here. I guess we'll see. But
this is where everything kind of ramps up.
Yeah, this mission it gets you excited, right? Because you're like, oh, I gotta fly a Pelican. Are you serious? And then kind of once you get into the actual meat of the gameplay, you start to be like, oh god, can we end this? Again, especially as you've played this mission a couple times, it loses luster after a little bit. So anyway, let's talk about the community. I feel like I had a fun question for the community. Krista? Oh no, we're gonna do terminal first.
How dare you forget this terminal?
I'm not gonna skip the terminal. Let's do that first.
So this terminal opens the way the first terminal opens, with Faber and the librarian having a kind of council meeting, the Didact being very obviously absent for this. Faber is talking about, how we're losing to the Flood, how it's feasting off our essence, and the only way to stop their advance is to remove the life upon which they feast. And then you see a simulation of the halos firing, and the librarian is talking about the preparation the life workers are making to reseed every living being after the halos are fired. And then it kind of cuts to them agreeing to the halo solution being the only solution to go forward by now, because at this time, the Forerunners have pretty much nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything's gone. I don't think it happened yet, but at some point, their entire capital gets blown up by one of their own halos. Which is kind of fun.
Right.
Medicant Bias is like, no. And then Faber asks, what does your husband think about this? And the librarian's like, my husband has a different opinion on what steps to take against the Flood. And then we go to Requiem, and Didact's doing some crazy shit. He looks way different now, because he's been experimenting on himself.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. He looks super crazy wacko. Like, vampire-like. His vampire features come out with his, big fangs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he's trying to make himself immune to the Flood infestation, which has never been done ever. With all of the great Forerunner minds kind of working on this, it's never been done, any immunity to the Flood. The Didact calls his procedures a failure. He is still susceptible to the Flood infection. An armored Promethean warrior floats towards him. He does float. And the Promethean warrior says, the only thing left we have is the Composer. Didact says it won't work on me anymore, and the Promethean said, you will lead us then, as always. Didact said, would you submit to such a sacrifice? And the Promethean warrior says, Didact, if the Composer is our final hope to defeat the Flood, no Promethean would resist. Cut to Didact on the surface, kind of joyfully having his hands up and says, rise, my Prometheans, rise! And all the Prometheans kind of pop up, so he's composed his own people.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I know we said that most of these are ancient humans, but he sounds like the actual Promethean race.
Was composed.
What are they called?
The warrior servants.
Yeah, the warrior servants. The caste, that's where the whole caste just allow themselves to be composed so that they could fight as
I think it was warrior servants and Prometheans are very different. Prometheans are pretty much directly under the Didact, kind of some of the more elite warriors. So I believe it was probably only the Prometheans. And so Didact's doing some crazy shit. These people literally succumbed to death in order to help defeat the Flood, and you can see how that worked.
It's heavy, right? But technically they survived the firing of the ring.
Yeah, because they're not biological anymore.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they also don't have any cognitive skills either.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say that they failed, as opposed to they weren't even allowed to succeed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I got the impression that maybe if they did, Foreigners went all in and went against the Mandal and, subjected life to this horrible thing that they is against. I mean, that's kind of the thing, I guess, that they could have fought back and possibly won with the Didact's plan.
Yeah, but then Faber and the librarian is like, what's the Didact doing? And they're like, oh my god, what the hell is he doing? He's basically committing mass genocide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I misspoke. They're immune to the. Let's see. What are they immune to? They're immune to the flood, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If they're composed, but that would also mean that they're immune to the Halo ring, because the Halo ring
I would say so.
Yeah.
Destroy all sentient life, and if they're now just a computer,
they're not sentient anymore. Yeah. Technically, they're not. Well, the Halo ring is sentient life that is biological.
Yeah. Okay. Weird.
Because technically, you would, when you think about it, Requiem would have been hit with the blast from a ring.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true.
Everything on it.
No, Requiem wouldn't have been hit because
is it outside?
Requiem's a shield world. Shield worlds are supposed to be immune to Halo effects. That's why they exist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The inside of them?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Well, but it matters where it was placed. I think that's where you were going, right, David? So it was inside the blast radius of a Halo ring.
Yeah.
But then, if everything inside of it was, because the way the shield world was made, it was, I don't know, like it's immune to the firing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure shield worlds are immune to Halo's firing or something like that.
Okay.
Because they were also supposed to keep the flood out as well.
Yeah. I think I was kind of thinking that only the Dyson Sphere ones were actually immune, as opposed to like ones that still existed in regular space.
Yeah.
And didn't go into the crazy subspace dimension.
Yeah, Trevelyan's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Cool. So let that sink in, and go down some rabbit holes, because it's fun, and it's very interesting. All right, let's do community now. Now
we can do community.
David, you start with some Facebook. Start us off on the right foot, because Discord got a little crazy yesterday.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm telling the Discord people I got in trouble. I got in trouble because of that.
They won't care.
No, they don't care. They'll go even harder next time.
Yeah, they will. Animals. Anyway, nice and clean Facebook. We have a beautiful picture of the Pelican. Colin Perkins, the admin, on July 24th, 6:56 p.m. You're given a shiny new Pelican gunship. What do you name her? Open bracket, quest for mission debrief / Halo 4 shutdown mission close bracket. Well, we got some goodies. Got a lot of responses actually. We're really ramping up. Good job, Colin, with your questions. Josh Bell says Dorothy, nice and simple. Buddy Cool says refund. I want the old Pelican back. That got a few likes and some cry faces. Alan says the faux hammer. Ooh, yeah, baby.
Yep.
AJ says the heart of justice. I like that. It's a good name. Matthew says the wife, because after a few years another pilot would probably get to take her flight or two.
I was confused by that.
That's close. That's close. I mean, all right, Matt. Whatever. Shawark says Intimidator. We have Jared says Halo CE Magnum. That's the correct answer, Jared.
That's good.
Lance says Duster, but knowing the track record of Pelicans, it will immediately be shot down, which is funny. Trenton says Installation 08B. Don't think Trenton knows what Halo is yet, Krista, but God bless him, he's trying. Noah says Crash and Smash. I like that. Wayne says George. Cry face. It's a good name.
Wow.
Yeah. Trey Core says Shelly, Sheila's cousin, which is pretty funny. Red versus blue, you know what I'm saying? Justin says Crashy McNosedive Jr. Crashy McNosedive Sr. was the Pelican I crashed before getting the new one.
Okay.
Lucas says Sheila. I think people have actually liked that again. Then we had a bunch of quotes from Red vs. Blue. That's pretty well. Jezebel by Keith. That's pretty good. Erasmus says Sky Death. That's accurate. James says MH370, which may actually be a designation for the something for one of them. That sounds familiar. We have Dave, who says Flying Langer of Death. Good man, Dave. Good Irishman. Throwing the word Langer in there.
What's a Langer? What is that?
There's various colloquialisms. Think of it as penis.
Oh,
that.
Okay.
Very nice.
You would call someone a langer, just because saying you're a jerk or whatever, a bit of a gobshite, an idiot. Just another word that you would throw out there to use that.
Gotcha. Could you use it lovingly? Could you?
Yeah, and the way you say someone's like, that guy's a real dick, you say he's a real langer.
Langer.
Got it.
There you go. What we got? Brad says the UNSC unscratchable. Uncrashable? Is that what he's saying? No, that's funny. Nice job, Brad. We'll keep going. My God, so many names. John Connor says the lover.
What?
He whispers it. Patrick says the gun show because these things are bullet magnets. I like that. That's pretty good. And someone named Aaron Campbell says, please don't crash.
Who's Aaron Campbell?
There you go.
Very nice. You know, that made me think of, we didn't get to crash the Pelican. We get to float it.
You can if you want. Just crash it into
blows
the
up.
side
I guess
of the
you
building.
could. Yeah, I guess. But it wasn't like built into the mission.
There
like,
should
it
be a
wasn't
crash
canonical.
button.
It would have been nice if you canonically had to crash it into that last.
Technically,
tower
you
or
just
something like
abandon
that.
it.
Yeah, that's true. It's lonely. A lonely Pelican.
Rip.
All right, Krista.
Okay. Discord, same question stuffs in that thing. UNSC Brexit says self-destruct. Rye says faux hammer. Rip. Redacted says prone to failure. Rye says crash overdrive. UNSC Brexit says Jolly Roger. Ian says insufficient altitude.
That's good. I like these engineer-ass names coming through.
UNSC Brexit says the absentee father.
Oh, getting
Yikes.
deep.
Mohammed says king of torts. UNSC Brexit said I would have been your daddy, but Elson.
That's good.
That's like his third one.
I know,
Come on,
he
we
says
gotta
a
limit
lot.
to like one.
Look, they're funny. Elson says third time's the charm. Matt says the majestic emu, because emus don't fly.
Okay.
The almost as cool Colin says Pelican McPelican face.
Nice.
Oh, that's good.
Brexit again says USS Coffin.
That's pretty good actually.
Rye says chupa thingy. Matthew says crash landing. Physical Sky says the dodo.
Okay.
Brexit says tis but a scratch.
That's good.
And finally,
Monty Python
Min
quote.
says the Normandy SR1.
Oh, there we go. I like that.
Hey, some Mass Effect. I like a little
Some
Mass Effect with my
cross-pollination.
Halo.
We've had a couple of those now. some
She-
Mass Effect references.
Yeah, she usually does the Mass Effect references.
There was no Enterprise or anything.
No Star
but-
Trek references, no.
Yeah,
Nothing.
so-
The Enterprise would never crash land like that.
The Enterprise
Except
gets
that one time.
fucked up a lot.
I mean, but it's usually fine at the end of the
True.
episode.
That's
They're
right.
usually like, oh, everything's
No, they
broken.
just-
No, it's
Or at least
fine.
get a new one.
Yeah.
usually
They
just get a new
build a
one.
completely different new one and just slap a different letter at the end.
Yep. It's great.
All right, that'll do it for our debriefing of the Shutdown mission from Halo 4. On the next episode, we'll be covering Composer. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com and drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. Until next time, evolve.
Evolve.
Evolved.